A huge thing is just finishing games, and something that we've stressed throughout the spring and this summer is attention to details. Because, in some of those games, we were in there. We just weren't finishing in the fourth quarter. We were hurting ourselves. I mean, there are injuries. You can talk about all that stuff. But what we want to focus on now is just attention to details, not hurting ourselves, and finishing the fourth quarter.
Not to compare stats, but is it a drastic difference of how things are being done now as opposed to a year ago?
I think the biggest change right now would just be an overall energy boost that's been going on throughout the team. The players are excited to go out to practice. People are running around, making plays, celebrating out in practice. It's really fun right now.
How different will it be playing on field turf for an offensive lineman?
I really don't notice it different when I'm out there playing. All I know is that UNC's field is beautiful right now, so it's great.
A lot of coaches I've covered in the past said that at the end of spring, everything was upbeat. Most spring practices, they're very positive going into the next couple of months of the OTAs, but it's very difficult to have the right kind of leadership to carry that over and connect it to fall camp. Do you feel like you guys have connected where you were at the end of spring to where you need to be in a couple weeks?
Exactly, yes, I do think so. I think, like I was saying, people are excited to go into camp right now, and that's kind of a rare thing to have because most people, if you think about it, honestly, most people are like, oh, training camp, it's hard. But people are ready to go out there and prove themselves to a new staff that didn't prove themselves in spring. And there's a great group of emerging leaders right now that are doing a good job bringing people along, and it's just been exciting to watch.
How much has Coach Hess played a part in that as well?
He's played a huge part. Like I was saying, he's one of the enforcers on attention to detail. Every single workout that we have, every player-led practice is driven around finishing in the fourth quarter, and it's position specific. So the work we're getting in will relate directly to the field on Sunday.
And with doing the stuff that Coach Hess wants you guys to do, what has been different during that stretch of the season this year between the spring and the start of fall camp as opposed to previously?
I think just the workout's more position specific. We're focusing a lot more on flexibility and mobility. We're not necessarily putting up the huge numbers, but we're becoming explosive and quick twitch, and we're doing everything down to the wire.
With you is obviously with your family history, we know about your dad, we know about your brother. Is it literally offensive line 24/7 with all of you guys? And like how so?
People might think that it would be, but my dad did a great job growing up, not being just like the O-line coach that he is. He was just a dad to my brother and I. But obviously, John and I, we were O-linemen, so we wanted to talk to him about that, and he's always been there for us to be an ear to listen to and giving us great advice.
Have you ever, technically watched his film from Notre Dame, for example, when he was playing there?
I have watched a few games, and that's exciting to see. So in Notre Dame, he played tight end until his senior year. And it's just exciting to just see his play style. And growing up when he was in the NFL, that he was my hero. That's what I wanted to do growing up. And so it's been awesome.
How's it been on the flip side now with him and your brother kind of, watching you develop? Has there been a moment where you're like, man, that was something he might have done at that age, or even your brother, obviously?
Mm-hmm. Yep, so I've been kind of, what it feels like is I've been kind of following in the footsteps of both my brother and my dad. My dad had a successful career in the NFL. I have ambitions to go play in the NFL. John was a great player at the Tar Heels, and now he's part of the strength staff. So I'm working with him every day, and I get to hear kind of his advice and bounce off him about his same experiences that we've shared.
He looked pretty big on the Twitter page.
He's huge. Yeah.
You mentioned some changes, obviously, facilities and other things. What are some differences in how things are operated day to day that stand out to you, whether it be like practicing early in the morning or things like that are different now?
So practicing early in the morning is huge. I didn't necessarily think I was going to be a huge supporter of that, but we tested it out in the spring, and it's phenomenal. I think almost every team should do it because not just, I think it helps academically too, because when you practice later in the afternoon, when you're sitting in class, you're just thinking about, oh, I've got practice later. That's what I'm thinking about. But you knock out practice in the morning, you've got the energy, then you're awake, then you've just got your classes left for the day, and that's all you have. There's no more practice going on later in the afternoon.
Any more schematic changes that you've noticed with Coach Brown?
Something great about Coach Brown is he's really done a good job listening to what the players have said and then quickly making a change, and that's just been something that I've noticed as a senior that he's done a great job in. Players Lounge, it was good, but now it's even better.
What's different about Players Lounge?
So we actually just got these 2 new sleep pods. I don't know if you've been in one of those, but I just tested it out the other day and took a nice little 20-minute nap. It's got a little massager too. Yeah, it was good.
You mentioned that there was a lot of
for the first time since 2015. We're kind of reigniting that rivalry. You guys talked about that. Will it be weird playing them? The fact that it's non-con though.
I don't think it's going to be weird. I'm excited. It's the first game, so we're dialed in on playing South Carolina right now, and I mean, you can say you want to treat every game the same, which you do, but there is an excitement that you bring playing the state rival. You can say South Carolina, North Carolina. There's something there.
Have you guys talked about? Did anyone kind of talk to you guys about it, or did you guys hear about it from the fans? Like, we want to see you guys play North Carolina. Why don't you guys play North Carolina or anything like that? I'm sorry, Wake Forest.
Oh, Wake Forest.
Oh,
Okay, sorry.
that's my fault. Yeah.
I thought you were talking about South
Thanks
Carolina.
for the tip there. Sorry.
Sorry.
Wake Forest, you're North Carolina.
Okay.
Wake Forest, you're playing this year for the first time since
Yes.
2015. Let's start over. You guys
Okay.
ready? Everyone rolling?
Yeah.
All right, go.
So yeah, I'm excited to play Wake Forest. Every time you get to play an in-state rival, it's bragging rights. And we get to play State and Duke every year, and we don't have the opportunity to play Wake every year. And so this is a great opportunity to go out there and gain bragging rights.
You mentioned that there was a lot of excitement, more excitement that you had seen. Why do you think that is?
So just Coach Brown's name, it has weight to it. And is it the recruits coming in? Is it just former supporters of him that were kind of lost along the way coming back? But people are excited, and on the team there is an energy change that, it's hard to explain, but people are excited to play.
What story do you hear the most from his first time around? Among all those former players that come back, is there something that sticks out that they tell you about when he was here the first time?
It's just, what sticks out to me is that everybody will tell you that he will have your back no matter what, and they still talk to him today. 10 years later, 15 years later, he helps them get their first job out of football, stuff like that, and that's what really sticks with you.
Have there been any challenges to the coaching change? Obviously, it seems like everything's like rainbows and butterflies, but are there any difficult parts in the last 8 months?
There definitely is difficulties when you get a whole new staff. You're learning. You've got a whole new position coaches. You got to adjust to their styles of coaching. But I think we have done a good job as an O-line specifically, getting with Searles. He's our O-line coach now, and he's been awesome. But the challenges would be just getting used to a new coach.
Regarding the
relating to the players.
I'm sorry, could you
What's
repeat?
Mac been like in terms of relating to the players, dealing with the players, in terms of those, getting to know the players there?
So every single day you could find him sitting at lunch, and Miss Sally's also in at lunch a bunch. I think he mentioned it in the press conference. He's trying to get to know as many people as he can, and just about their life stories, about their backgrounds, know them outside of football, and he's been doing a great job at that.
I can't remember if it was you or Miles who brought it up in there about seeing the improvements, the facilities. I guess that would add weight that kind of Mac gets things done.
It does.
That add credence that this guy knows what he's doing, kind of thing?
That's certainly what it feels like. Just stepping, I know the indoor already had plans to be made, but just really stepping foot in there and practicing in there, it feels new. It's beautiful. That turf went up so quickly, I couldn't even believe it in the game field. In the weight room, we're about to walk into a new weight room next week also, and I think it's going to be one of the best weight rooms in the country.
Can you overstate how different it is? Like, you guys were practicing and playing on the same field for long stretches versus now having these completely different facilities, essentially.
So it's not an ideal situation, practicing and playing on the same field, because as the season wore on, you're starting to tear up that field. But just being able to go out, not worry about sinking into mud holes, slipping around, it's got to be the nicest indoor in the country. They opened the the gates. You can go practice outside. You can practice inside. They've got the giant fan spinning, which is a nice touch for no lineman. And then it also feels special when you get to play on the game field, because when you start to practice there every day, you get used to that, and I think it kind of takes away some of the excitement when you really run out on the field on game day.
Going back to the morning practice, was that a decision that you guys made, either the seniors or as a team, or how did you guys decide to do that this fall?
So we tested it out in the spring, and then after the spring, we made a decision as seniors and kind of the players on if we wanted to keep that, and it was a unanimous decision.
Did you guys kind of like hash it out? Were there any dissenters that didn't want to practice in the morning? You kind of had to pull them through on that one?
I mean, there were a few people that aren't morning people, but they saw the light eventually.
How soon into the spring practices did you realize, this works, this is what we want?
First week. After you got that first week out, you're like, this is what we got to do. I mean, going to class is so much better.
From the outside of that,